Hey, good evening, champions. Welcome to tonight's edition of the Motivation to Elevation Facebook Live podcast. It's yours truly, Arian Tyson. I'm sitting in my office here in St. Louis, and I am just excited about this topic. I apologize for the delay, but we will be getting started momentarily. Hey, what's up, Lauren? You know, our Celtics are looking good right now. Our Celtics are looking great right now. That's what's up. I trust that you all's day was a peaceful one, a blessed one. And I'm just going to let some people know that I'm live and we're going to dive in. Just hopping on, say hello in the comment section so I can know who all is on. All right, we're about to get it going. Hey, champions. Welcome to tonight's edition of the Motivation to Elevation Facebook Live podcast. It is yours truly, Arian Tyson. I am sitting in my office here in St. Louis, and it is just a privilege and honor to be back before you tonight. I really did not know what this topic was going to be about today until about 15 minutes ago, ironically. I had got a phone call from a friend of mine who's kind of going through an issue. And obviously, interest of full disclosure, I won't say who the person is. But, you know, he called me and he was like, Arian, like, what's going on? Like, what's wrong with these females? But so it got me thinking. And at one point in my life, I've asked that question. And so I have a lot of friends who have come to me over the last several months and have asked that question. So I decided to do a podcast and talk about 3 keys to successful, to having successful relationships. Hey, friend. This is one of my black belt speaker sisters hopped on. Appreciate you hopping on. And so I want to talk to you about 3 keys to successful relationships. And these are things that I had to learn the hard way and things that I wanted to share with you. And so if you get value from this, feel free to let me know in the comments section. And then if you have an idea of something that you want me to talk about on a future podcast, and this is the first time I'm doing that, make sure you put it in the comment section, because based on the comments, I'm going to respond to the topic suggestions going forward. Having said all that, let's dive in. One of the keys to having a successful relationship of any kind. Because I believe that at many points we are guilty of sabotaging a lot of relationships. And a lot of it is due to the fact that we have been hurt in the past. And the first suggestion, or the first key that I would suggest in order for your relationship to be successful, is that you have to heal from your past hurt. I'm going to just be honest with you. You have to heal from your past hurt. What I mean by that is, if you have not healed from your past hurt or pain, do yourself a favor and do any person that comes up to you or approach you a favor. Stay out of a relationship. If you know that you have not healed from hurt from a previous relationship, whether it was 6 months ago or whether it was 2 years ago, if you know that you have not fully healed, you are doing a disservice to whomever may be the next person. Because here's what I know. And I'm speaking as a man, so I can speak to this. No woman wants to pay for how another woman hurt us, fellas. and no man wants to pay for how another man hurt you, ladies. So think about this. How many of you watching have ever asked this question? Why does this always happen to me? Why can't I find someone? Why are all the women I meet only interested in money? That's more or less for the fellas. For the women, why are the guys I meet such jerks? Or why don't they have their stuff together? Why can't I meet the one? Why are relationships so hard? Why can't I just be happy with someone? Here's what I want to know, and I put the one in. I put more emphasis on the one. There's no such thing as the one. The one is a created idea. It is a myth. It is ridiculousness. You can never know it objectively. When we don't feel this chemical reaction anymore, our thought is, it must be the wrong one. This is what love is from a biblical standpoint. Biblical love is an act of the will, accompanied by emotion, and it leads to action on behalf of its object. For example, Christ doesn't love the church because she's fine or makes him happy. He loves the church because he chooses to love the church. Now, I'm not here to preach to you anything, but I'm just being honest with you. You lead with the will, and you protect from those who are not qualified for your love. Relationships are about choices of any kind. They're personal and or professional choices we make and enter to most times on our own accord or on our own volition. You must choose whether you want a biblical relationship or a sexual relationship, because there is a difference. If you've had a string of unsuccessful relationships and you don't know why, instead of placing blame on other people and external factors, consider your role in it first. It takes two to make or break a relationship, even abusive ones. And if you're the target of abuse, of course, you're not to blame for being abused. I actually had an opportunity last Thursday. I did a presentation on domestic violence and the difference between being in a healthy and being in an unhealthy relationship. And to my surprise, I was actually approached by two individuals, both female, who thanked me for speaking on that particular topic at that meeting because they had been victims of domestic violence. And they had experienced physical, emotional, and even sexual abuse by their former partners. So it's something that needs to be talked about. It's something that needs to be addressed because we tend to like to deal with stuff silently, but not realizing that we're actually doing more harm than good because we're hurting ourselves when we choose to not talk about the things that we've gone through. Because in the process of talking about things that you've gone through, it actually helps in the healing process. And that's something that I've learned from personal experience. You know, so I hope that resonates with someone because we don't know what people are going through. And chances are there are a lot of people that are wearing masks, but are hurting inside. Now, getting back to being in an abusive relationship, if you know someone that has been in one or is in one, once you recognize that your partner's behavior is abusive, you're complicit for the remaining part of the relationship and tolerating the abuse. We must understand past relationships before beginning new ones. Some people have no trouble finding and beginning new relationships. But these relationships seem to never work. Why? Because they're more likely making the same relationship choices over and over again, but with a different partner attached to it. And it's tempting to believe that, different person, fresh start. But many people carry the same relationship baggage in different packages because they have not dealt with their past. And the thing about it is they must deal with it and realize that only God can heal them from it. Stop looking for someone to do what only God can do. Stop looking for someone to complete you. And after God completes you, look for someone who will complement you. Someone who will be able to bring as much to the table as you bring, or what you lack, they make up for it. That's something that we have to understand. That's something we have to realize. And I noticed something recently. I saw a woman make a post admitting that she had been out of a relationship for 10 years. She said the last time that she was in a real relationship was when her daughter was about 5 years old. Her daughter is 17 now. 12 years have gone by. And she made a post that said, people who have been single for too long are the hardest to love. They have become so used to being single, independent, and self-sufficient that it takes something or someone extraordinary to convince them that they need you in their life. How many of you know someone like that or feel that way? And I'll deal with independence in a little bit. The second key in having or fostering or developing a successful relationship is that you must be willing to ask the right questions. And this was something that I had to figure out the hard way because I always had the tendency to where, I would find out things due to the natural course of time. But then I also realized as I've gotten older that by not asking the right questions, you set yourself up for wasting a lot of time. We've been told that if you spill your guts too fast, you will cause a person to panic and push them away. And that's not entirely true, Because again, it's a choice. My question is, would you rather be honest and forthright up front? Or would you rather be with someone for years, even decades, and settle for possibly never becoming a spouse, just a parent? One of the biggest things that bothers me to my core is people who complain about others and never point out their own flaws. And as I've said repeatedly on previous podcasts, every man is flawed and every woman is flawed. We all got something that isn't exactly right about us. So we all have something that basically we all have issues. Issues, we all have them. It's just a matter of coming across someone that's willing to deal with you and willing to love you despite your issues or in spite of your issues. Here's what I've learned. Here's what I know. Anyone that knows me knows that I am my own worst critic. We have to look at self. That's the point. We have to look at self. It's easy to point the finger at someone else and point out what they're not doing. But as it was always told to me, when you point the finger at someone, you have three fingers pointing back at you. So we have to be careful about passing the buck and not taking accountability or responsibility for our role in the mess that we may find ourselves in. The reality is we are ultimately what we attract. And in order to get something you've never had, you have to be willing to do something that you've never done. And then the third and final key is that you must embrace interdependence and not independence. And I will say this on behalf of the men, ladies. Whether you believe it or not, or accept it or not, I apologize. And you're probably saying, Arian, why are you saying that? Here's why. The excuses that men give you all have caused you all to, or a lot of you all, to deal with being independent and not interdependent. What I mean by that is we've been lied to and we have fed you the lies. Most men don't open themselves up, and the reason being is because we believe that it's not manly because we never saw our fathers open up. And the reality is that's an excuse. That's an excuse. And because of that excuse, this has caused a lot of women to unfortunately lower and even to a detriment do away with certain standards for fear of being hurt. So instead of being let down, they will accept being a baby mama or being a mother, but not being a wife. Nowadays, many females, sad to say, many females carry themselves like guys. Sad to say, there are many guys that carry themselves like females. They would rather play it safe and fit in than to take the risk of going against the grain and stand out. Here's the reality. We all have a person that, like SWV said, can get us weak in the knees. And what's astounding, ladies, is that most love to see a guy in a suit that's tailor-made to fit, yet so many settle for someone who said all that stuff they wanted to hear. But the problem with that is, it's of no substance. And we have to be careful about that. So, ladies, if you're not 100% blameless. Nobody is 100% blameless. Nobody. But the truth of the matter is, and I'm honest enough to admit it, that men are more to blame. Take accountability and responsibility for the role that you play and learn the lessons from it, and realize that every man doesn't initially want to, for lack of a better phrase, get between your legs. Here's the thing. Independence should not be the goal. Independence should not be the goal. Interdependence should be the goal. As we grow up, we work to be independent, moving out of our parents' home, earning money for ourselves, etc. And a person at this level is able to do things for themselves and does not need anyone else to survive. I've said that too many women have taken the whole independent woman thing and have taken it completely too far. Too many are also under the impression that letting a man be the head or be your head and submitting to him is a threat to your independence. And that's only the case when you are submitting to the wrong man. If he is not God sent, then he will not be able to lead you anywhere. I'm going to say it again. If he's not God sent, then he won't be able to lead you anywhere. Real men have a plan for you. And it is beyond the days or weeks most dudes give themselves to hit it and quit it. Just being honest. They have a plan. And it involves you, and it involves you long term. And if he can't talk to you about seeing you in the future, or if he can't see himself with you in the future, then that's a clear indication of where you actually stand with him. And I'm not making excuses. I'm just giving facts. However, it has gotten to the point that while it is still our fault as men in general, too many women are settling for playing wife, but never becoming a wife. And if a man romantically sees a future with you, the standard was you must put a ring on it. And I know that there are people watching who are married, and they can attest to that. Nowadays, you have women who have no problem just being a mother. And I salute every mother that's watching. I salute you, because you are really the backbone of your family. Especially nowadays, if you're a single mother, you're the backbone of your family. Like, the family does not operate at full efficiency without a mother in place. And I'm speaking as someone who absolutely loves and appreciates his own mother, because, without my mother, there is no me. I'm just going to be real with you. But the thing about it is, men know if they want to marry someone. Men know if they want to marry a woman. But if they already have, let's say they've already gotten the milk, so to speak, and there has been no, I don't want to say ultimatum, but there has been nothing established that this is my intention, then unfortunately he's going to do what he's allowed to do. And I've said it repeatedly, women have more power in a relationship than they realize. They really do. You really do. The truth of the matter is, there's no such thing as the one, and I'm going to say it again. Because we choose. We choose who we get involved with. We choose who we lay down with. We choose. We must choose. So what happens now, she finally gets the courage to walk away. And she feels like time has been wasted. And no, and not that it is not that the time was wasted if you learn something from it. The guilt now leaves a psychological stain. So now because of that hurt, it's changed her perspective on me, on men. Like, it's almost as if a man has to be perfect they have to almost be perfect to not bring up a feeling of what someone else has done, and vice versa. And that's a dangerous ground to be on. And the reason being is because we all are fallible. All of us are going to make mistakes. It's called being human. And the greatest human achievements come from people working at the level of interdependence. This is when people work together to achieve a common goal, and is the level of maturity of many people in a mature society or organization. This is how mankind has achieved things together that no single person could do alone. Interdependence is the state of human development of greatest maturity and power. My question to you is, does being independent fulfill you? If it is yes, God bless you. If it is not, then I appreciate you being honest and realizing that interdependence is the ultimate level of relationship. We are to serve one another. For example, I love to serve others. I love to serve because I can acknowledge that not only do I want that person or need that person. And I would say this to the fellas: if a woman belittles you because, or thinks less of you because you are honest enough to say that you need that person, get away from her. Ladies, if a man can't say that he needs you, and I'm not talking about needy to the point where he doesn't know how to operate without you. Like, I just can't live without you. No, I'm not talking about that. But if he can't express how he feels about you, you probably wasting your time. And what's ironic, at the end of the day, I'm going to share with you something, and you're the first to hear about it. I thought about writing a book talking about how to elevate from mere independence to an interdependent relationship. And I've been going back and forth with it. And I wanted to talk about how to become an ideal mate without losing your personal identity. And so, if that's something that you believe would benefit you, or even benefit someone that you know, message me privately on Facebook and let me know. Because that's something that has really just kind of been in my spirit lately. Because a lot of our relationships are suffering. They're suffering, and they need to be operating at maximum capacity. We have to do better. All, male and female, we have to do better. But unfortunately, I can speak from the male standpoint. Fellas, we got to do better. We got to do better. We're needed more than we realize. And I don't subscribe to what society says. I don't subscribe to the fact that, they really don't validate men like they're supposed to. But a lot of us are not acting like men. We're acting like scared little boys. And that's a problem. So because we call ourselves a man, but we're acting like a scared little boy, how can we expect the women in our lives to respect us? How? We have to give them something to respect, and vice versa. So I know this was kind of a different podcast, but I know that that's a sensitive subject, and I know that it's something that needs to be broached, and I'm not afraid to tackle any topic, because chances are I probably have been through it. And so all I can do is share the things that I've learned and the things that I have observed, whether it's from my own relationship or whether it's from relationships that I've observed from individuals that are near and dear to me. And so if you got value from this, hit me up in my inbox, leave a comment. Thank you so much for everyone, hopping on. I apologize for the technical difficulty. I did start a little late. That's why I went a little later than normal. But I still gave the 30 minutes or so. Again, remember, in life, you have two choices. You can make moves or you can make excuses, but you cannot do both. Once again, I appreciate you all hopping on this week's edition of the Motivation to Elevation Facebook Live podcast. I will be back at my regular time, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time next Tuesday on another edition of the Motivation to Elevation Facebook Live podcast. It's yours truly, Arian Tyson, the Moving Motivator. Talk to you soon. Peace.